What is up, all of you Ugnaughts and Jawas out there, and welcome back to our second week of being an Acolyte companion podcast. This is going to be a breakdown of episode 3 of the Acolyte titled Destiny. I'm your boy, Caleb Keller, and joining is my boy and your boy, Zach Horvath. Zach Horvath is back,
Hey,
baby. Episode 3.
I'm I'm back. Episode 3, Acolyte. So happy to be here to talk about this one, especially this episode. I
Dude,
we and as we always tell you guys, like we don't talk beforehand. All we
nope.
literally tell each other is like, "Hey, have you finished watching?" "Okay, I finished watching." That's it.
Yep.
And so I can't wait to get into this one.
All we have said about this one is there's a lot for us to discuss. There's a
Sure.
lot
Yeah,
for
we
us
did
to
say
chew
that. That's
on.
fair.
There's a
That's
lot
fair.
for us to analyze. There's a lot of things for us to work through, and we're going to work through them together. If you love what we're doing here, be sure whatever platform you're listening on, whether that be YouTube, Apple, Spotify, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, the notifications, the follow, all those special buttons to make sure that we stay in your feeds wherever you're at as we continue to try to investigate this murder mystery, if you will, of the Acolyte. And we're going to keep doing it week by week, same exact time. So make sure that you stay tuned. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Do you want to start with like overall ideas, or should we go ahead and just get into the deep dive?
Um, we can hit it off with just a quick idea. I want to know your thoughts on the
Okay.
on the episode. I don't
I
even know
think
what you
we
think of it.
probably
So,
need to just keep that format each week because I think we did that last week too. I
okay.
really enjoyed my time watching this just because there was so much lore and so much rich, I feel like, background with these characters that we've seen so far. A lot of teasing of potential things that happen in the background of this situation here on Brindock that we kind of alluded to last week during our first two episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, and I'll go ahead and say this. A lot of the things tonight that we talk about as we walk through this episode, I'm probably going to say I need some more time to think about it, or I need
Mm-hmm.
some more time to watch the episode, maybe two, three, four times, maybe to fully digest and kind of get my opinion on some of the things that they showed. But overall, I can at least say I greatly appreciate the swings that this episode took. So with that said, yeah, I enjoyed it because of those swings. What do you think, Zach?
I think overall it really worked for me by the end. And so
Okay,
let
by the
me
end,
let me
ooh,
yeah, let me just give you an idea of that real quick. We'll walk through it, but first 10 minutes was kind of not in. I was
okay,
kind of not locked in,
yeah,
and then just keeping it spoiler free. I don't know if we are or not, but keeping it spoiler free. Some other people arrive, and then it cranked up to a billion for me.
okay,
So
all
like
right. I have a feeling I know what
that's
you're
where
talking
I'm at.
about.
Yeah, you do.
All right,
Yeah.
well then let's go ahead and get into these spoilers, if you will, the breakdown, the walkthrough, the discussion. Episode 3 titled Destiny. First scene, we open immediately, and I guess we can go ahead and say this entire episode is flashback only, exclusive. We don't ever
Yep.
catch up
That's right.
to real time from the first two episodes. So we open on Brindock 16 years earlier. A young Osha is under a bunta tree using the Force on I just called it a Star Wars butterfly. I didn't know what else to call it. May
Yeah.
arrives, and we get a look at the behavior of the two when they were young. Osha voices that she doesn't want to do the ascension. Obviously, we'll talk more about that later. May expresses that it is just a ceremony and that they will do it together. They recite their phrase with each other as they walk back home through the forest. Mother Coral arrives and gets onto them for being there in the forest as it is not safe. Now, I will go ahead and kind of piggyback on what you said, Zach, earlier. I was kind of iffy on this scene at the moment. Okay, this is interesting. I guess it's cool kind of seeing these two characters younger. But then the moment for me, it was quicker than you, I guess. The moment that Master Soul pops up and is seen looking on and panting heavily in that forest, that immediately took me back to those wild speculative ideas that we talked about last week of they're doing something they should not be doing here. And immediately because of that scene and because of that moment, I was like, okay, I'm back invested in this story because I know something's going on that probably shouldn't be going on. And again, all of this stuff before the little opening title or yeah, the pop up of the Acolyte. A good, solid groundwork as far as a flashback episode establishing where we're at. What did you think of this opening scene?
I agree 100%. It was a little, I won't say clunky, but it didn't hook me.
Sure.
I almost was like, "Oh, no, we're getting the whole episode of this." I
Mm.
got a little nervous because I was like, I think we actually talked last week that we would see this here. I don't know if I don't know, I can't confirm that, but
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
we talked
maybe,
about either
maybe.
3 or 4 that we would see this and that it living up to the hype, and so I was like, "Okay, we're here." That made me happy to see that we were, okay, 16 years earlier. This is sweet. I'm happy to watch this. And I agree that seeing Master Soul there did make me kinda lean up a little bit. I was like,
Sure.
"Oh, alright. It's okay, so he's watching." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's about it. I would say it didn't hook me by any means, but I was
Okay.
like, "Okay, here we go. Let's get into this. I want
That's
some
fair.
answers."
Well, yeah, and just the way that he portrayed his emotions, I guess, was enough for me. Just the decision of the panting, of the kind of worry that was on his face, took me
Yeah,
back to
not to jump ahead, but God, I love him.
yeah,
I
he's great.
love him. He's skyrocketing up my list of favorite Star Wars characters, dude.
Okay, dang. All right.
I'm serious, like, super working for me.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. Well, here we go. As we continue on, May and Osha arrive back at the homestead. Everyone bows at them. I was immediately kind of wondering what the heck's going on there. Why do these two girls got that much respect? Their mom, aka Mother Anasea, still struggling with that last name. I think I said it right. I don't know. Arrives and
Sounds good.
allows them to have spice creams after Mother Coral says they must wait until after Ascension. Coral notifies Mother Anasea. I'm gonna struggle over that name. I'm just gonna call her Mother the rest of the way. How about
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Coral notifies Mother that the two left the fortress again. Mother asks if anyone saw them, specifically worried about the Jedi. Coral says she does not believe anyone saw them. Scouts believe the Jedi have moved their ships inland. Mother says she believes this fortress is a safe haven for their coven. Coral expresses concern with Osha continuing to run away. Coral believes Mother is too lenient. The mother believes it is just a child behaving like a child, but Coral expresses that the twins are not normal children. Okay, exposition dump here for me. Some idea of how the mother relationship between this mother and those two twins kind of ran. We get a lot of that later in this show. Overall, some important tidbits there. It was very interesting to see immediately she switched over to ask, did the Jedi potentially see these two? And obviously, by the episode end, we know that kind of mid episode, actually, we know why the Jedi might be looking for these two. Decent scene. What'd you think?
I was falling asleep in this. I was just like,
Really?
"Okay." Yeah, I was like, "Alright." What I exposition dump is pretty much it. Like, we need to know this stuff to at least get an idea of this coven and,
Sure.
things like that, but
And I'm glad you said that word again because that was one of the things that I wanted to point out. As soon as they used that word coven, I was thinking, okay, we're dealing with witches. 100%.
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Without
I
a
was thinking
doubt.
some sort of
If the trailers
not
didn't already give that
Jedi, it's
away.
right, it's some sort of witch, quote, unquote, using the word witch
Yeah.
because they do, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just yeah, this, like, magical type of idea, and I wanna talk more about this when we get to the Ascension and things, but,
Sure.
the idea of the Force is just so interesting here,
Yeah.
we really get into some interesting concepts that, like you said, I think you nailed it when you said, kinda swinging for it. Whether they miss or not, I think
Sure.
it's very interesting stuff.
Well, I 100% think they're going to miss for several fans, a lot of fans. But, that happens
Yeah.
with everything these days. Um,
Well, yeah. If it
but
ain't Luke
but like I said,
Skywalker and it ain't, like,
sure.
there's those folks out there, and if you're one of those, cool,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Word.
But but, like, it's okay to have different stories with, this mythology that George, the Allfather, set up, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I
Um
agree with that 100%. All right, man. Let's keep going here. Mother, hopefully, we get in some interesting things that get you going. The mother gives the twins a lesson on the force, which she calls a thread. Okay. So, that, again, admittedly, that's one of those things that I need to kind of watch
Mm,
some more and think about some more and just digest a little bit more. She believes the thread is not a power you yield, pull the thread and it changes everything. It ties you to your destiny and binds you to others. The twins begin having a fight during the lesson. Mother puts an end to it by force pushing them to the ground. It feels weird. I typed out initially she thread pushed them, but that didn't feel right to put.
Yeah. Yeah.
The mother tests them by asking them to block her, and May is successful in doing so. The lesson is abruptly stopped as the twins are ordered to go to their room. I didn't really get what sent them to their room. It looked like the other mother, Coral, looked into like the
Mhm.
electronical bay kind of thing, and it was all sparky or something. Maybe I may have missed that bit as to why they went to their room, but again, another exposition dump giving an understanding of what this coven, what exactly are they into, what do they believe in. Really, it's the force at work here. They're just throwing a different name on it based on some
I love this.
conceptual ideas.
I love this because we know the perspective of the Jedi with the Force and this teaching. Because you got to remember, and this is how I told my wife Taylor, if you're not familiar or haven't listened, I basically kind of bounce everything off her because
Sure.
she's our, what do you call it, control group in
Okay.
this, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Where
yeah,
she
yeah, yeah.
has no, she's not a super fan. She likes some stuff, doesn't like some stuff. It's fine. So the way I pitched to her was like, you got to think about the Jedi like, a religious sect that we have, whether it's Christianity, Buddhism, whatever it is. It's that same idea for Star Wars, in the sense of there's gonna be other people who have the Force
Yeah,
who aren't Jedi. Like,
right.
and the idea, and we actually physically see this here. She's doing all this stuff. She's pushing the girl. She pushes the little girls. She's using the Force, but she doesn't say that once, and she calls it the thread, which I think is such a cool concept because you always say, pull on the thread. She even says that later. Um, I just, I kind of love that the fact that we're seeing this. It's just a peek, but and it is exposition dump, but
Yeah.
it really worked for me in going like, what would you do if you don't know about the Jedi, or you
Mhm.
don't know other people of the Force, right? That have this concept, being a
Yeah,
child or being this coven where it's like she's using magic,
sure.
but it's the Force. Like, we got this weird kind of combination of the Night Witch stuff. Is that
Yeah,
what they're
yeah.
called?
The Night
Night Sisters.
Sisters. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, Night Sisters mixed with the Force here, which I
yeah,
think is sick. I just think this whole concept really, really interests me, and I thought this was a good first step.
yeah. No, I definitely, as I was watching it, I kind of told myself, well, I mean, obviously here on just our small planet Earth, we have all these similar kind of concepts and beliefs, but it's all kind of called different things all around this world. Just imagine that in a galactic setting. Obviously, you're going to have
Yeah,
tons of different
planets and
names.
stuff.
But I guess the one thing that kind of threw me off with it was like they were clearly well aware of the Jedi because Osha later in the episode is like, "Oh, I want to be a Jedi," and she thinks very highly of them. She freaking draws the Jedi Order symbol in her freaking journal, which was a cool reveal, I might add. We'll talk about that later. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just kind of being
Well,
different, just
that's
to be
why I
different.
said,
But I agree with what you're kind of saying. Of it's just a massive galaxy. You're gonna have different labels for similar
but
concepts.
but also the idea of it being like this magic mixed with the Force, because it ain't
Sure.
all Force going on here. We got some mother juju going on.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I gave it a pass, in the
Okay.
sense of like, yeah, they probably know the Jedi use the Force, just like other religious people, do certain things.
Sure.
But in ours, we do this, right?
Yeah,
And we
I
have
got you.
this magical force that we call the thread. And I just, it really worked for me and made a lot of sense
Okay.
to just thinking about the world we have here. And I love how you put it there with this is a Earth. Imagine
Sure.
10,000 Earths. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that.
All right. Well, a lot to discuss there. Again, I need to watch it a few more times for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
It's a
In
lot
their
going on.
room, Osha expresses her desire to not do the ascension, which is confusing to May because completing it is how you become a witch. They literally use that word. So they smack you in the face of this is some witchcraft they got going on. Osha says she doesn't know if she wants to be a witch as the two begin to bicker. Mother has them hold hands as the conversation continues and instructs them to tell each other that they love each other. Mother explains to them that ascension is about walking through fear and sacrificing a part of yourself. Ascension is their way of uniting their power as many rather than just one. In the process, she shares her feeling of the galaxy not being accepting of their coven, witches who have their abilities, and that one day Osha will see that when she is no longer young. Mother wants them to stay special. Now, obviously, I'm dying to know what led to them being kind of cast aside. I would have a feeling that maybe they did some dark stuff, and also the fact that it's just not the Jedi wielding the Force. And so the Jedi need to make sure they keep that power in check in order for the Jedi to stay in power. Um, Again, a lot of explanation going on here, but kind of important to kind of get the two sides of this story that they're trying to tell here in the Acolyte. What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like this is when I'm starting to get locked in because I'm
Okay.
like, okay, we're getting more interesting tidbits. They've been pushed out or whatever, right? And they seem to all have some sort of ability here.
Yeah.
And also one thing I'm gonna probably say this a couple times in the pod here, but being a dad makes you view this episode in a different
Mm.
light, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion. Because the kids are always bickering, and my kids are always bickering. And it just made me think like, these two, especially in this moment, I'm really seeing this light side, dark side, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
pretty clear at this point that they are the embodiment of these two sides, and I get it. That's like EU stuff and
Sure.
or whatever they call it. And as I said last week, that's absolutely fascinating for me to me.
Yeah.
This idea of the balance and these two being together. And I just loved this scene. I don't know why, but this scene really kind of made me lean up even more and go, okay, I'm locked in here.
All right. Fair. Well, I was trying. There was something that I had on my mind there to add to that, but then I my mind went elsewhere. Of course, dadgummit, it was going to be good too. It was one of those moments where I knew it was going to
Mm,
be good.
mm.
No, no, no. I remember now. I remember now.
Better be good.
Yeah, I probably set the stage too much for it now. No, I just wanted to add to it that I really you kind of mentioned viewing this scene as a dad, but I also kind of viewed it as a son because I remember my mom, anytime me and my brother would bicker or argue, she would literally do the same thing where we would
Mm,
sit down across from each other. We wouldn't necessarily hold hands, but we would have to end the conversation after we had bickered by saying I love you to each other. So that was really cool to see for me there for a moment because it kind of took me back to, being a kid and smacking each other with lightsabers and making each other bleed. And then my mom sitting us down saying, all right, you got to apologize, tell each other that you love each other, and then we got to work through this. So the motherly aspects, though, of this character, the mother, were
dude,
great.
dude, she's a great mother.
She's a great mom. The problem is,
She's a
though,
great mom,
they're a sketchy coven. Let's be real.
except for this culty kind of witchcraft aspect. But in terms of mom lore
She's
here that
loving,
she's
yes.
dropping, she's doing a great job, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Besides the whole like, you got to get in front of everyone and
Sure.
you
The
I don't
weird
know.
stuff.
Yeah, I think she overall is a great mom. Let's
Yeah.
just say that.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Osha and May are preparing for ascension. Osha is drawing or writing something in a journal. They don't really reveal what it is, but I've already kind of alluded to it. That becomes a cool little moment later in the episode. Osha expresses that she wants her own things in her own life. In this bickering, it is revealed that they are the only two children there, which creates an awkward silence there for a moment in the scene. Osha wonders what else is out there besides Brendock. May says everything she needs is there. Another nice little dialogue moment between the two. This is in this moment though, I was fascinated to hear what my wife thought. Again, I will watch it with her tomorrow. I usually watch it when it releases and we watch it together the next day because if you don't know, my wife's a twin. So I would love to hear
Mm,
her thoughts on this whole idea of one of them wants to do one thing, the other wants to do the other, and just to see if there's any like dynamic that I've never really thought of between twins as far as like if one wants to go and the other doesn't, if that like creates tension between the two or anything like that. But a cool little moment, cool little scene here. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Not much more to say other than like, hey, they're the only two kids here. Hmm. Even sketchier here.
Yes, the
You know,
fact
like
that
what's up?
the only 2 kids was a big reveal, and the second thing was obviously setting up the journal moment for later in the episode. Alright, moving on. The witches begin performing a ritual as night falls, and I noticed this, maybe I'm just imagining things here. Did it not look like the 2 moons up in the sky were kinda creating the O in the Acolyte logo?
Oh yeah, they were. Yeah, they
Okay,
were definitely lining up. They were
yeah.
getting closer and lining
So,
up there.
I mentally told myself that they have to wait until those moons kinda eclipse each other in order
Yeah,
to perform this ritual.
I think so.
Okay,
That's
alright.
how I took it as well.
Alright, cool. Alright,
'Cause why
so
would they pick the Ascension on this day? You know,
sure,
like
yeah,
I think you're right. I think you're
okay.
nailing it.
Alright, well, then the mother arrives, clearly the leader of the clan, because literally everybody stops, they bow, it gets quiet, declares that they will begin a ceremony they have not performed since their exile. They were hunted, persecuted, forced into hiding, all because some considered their power dark and unnatural, because it is. They were on the brink of extinction. Then they were blessed with a miracle. May and Osha. The two arrive for the ritual. May is excited, and Osha looks very concerned as they're walking through the crowd. The witches begin singing in a very creepy manner. I definitely got the heebie jeebies whenever they were singing it. It was a little weird. Mother asks if May will vow to protect the secrets of their covenant and continue their legacy. May says, I do, quickly and happily. Mother continues the ritual, and May receives a mark on her forehead. Mother asks Osha the same thing. Osha hesitates in saying, I do. But before Mother can mark Osha, the witches are alerted to the Jedi arrival. Mother instructs the witches to hide May and Osha, and she also says no violence to everyone. Yeah, the big thing for me in this scene, first of all, the ritual was sketch to me. Uh, I was like, "What the heck is going on here?" And then the singing, I was like, "What the heck is going on here?" Some more. But I dug it. I again, I told you, Zach, that is one thing that I pulled up on Twitter. People were already complaining about that the singing moment, the ritual kind of didn't belong in Star Wars. But to that I say, have you seen the Night Sisters in the Clone Wars? Have you seen the Night Sisters in as recently as Ahsoka? In
And
my opinion, it's very Star Warsy.
have you ever heard of a miracle birth for your religious sect that's super important and we got
Sure.
like it's the same. It's the same. Yeah, they're chanting and stuff, but it's the same. This they're
It's just
this
their
quote
own
unquote
thing.
miracle for this group that is going to either bring balance or bring their coven back to light or whatever their goal is. We don't actually even really know at this
Yeah.
point, but you know, the fact that they're the first 2 children and however long, and they haven't done this since they were exiled, which is interesting. Who exiled them? Why are they out? Right. I thought it was weird, but it worked because it is weird. Like it
Yeah.
should be weird
It
in
should,
my mind.
yes, 100%, it should be
Um,
weird. I
like
think
it
that
should.
plays to the characters, and
I agree,
that's
and
why they're having to do their own thing on this fortress and hide from everybody.
I thought the visual of, like, doing the crazy, weird, creepy stuff with the force slash magic that I've been talking about here, kind of going into May, I thought that was really cool.
Mm.
I thought all of that visual really worked for me,
Yeah.
and this whole thing was good.
Yeah, and clearly a nice little nod to explaining why May has the markings on her forehead now
Oh,
as an
yeah,
adult,
100%. Yes.
and OSHA
When that
doesn't.
happened, I was like, "Ah, okay,
Yeah,
okay." So we're
yeah,
answering that, I like that, you know?
yeah. Now, in that moment, though, I thought because obviously we had seen the first 2 episodes and OSHA didn't have the markings, I thought right then and there was gonna be, like, the fire for some reason. I thought
Same,
that's how they were
same.
gonna
I thought
separate.
she was gonna say no, and May was gonna do
Whoosh.
something, and then just somehow fire,
Yeah,
which I'm glad that didn't happen. But
yeah,
no, I was right there with you. I was like, oh, I know she doesn't get the mark. What's about to happen?
yeah.
And then,
Jedi.
then,
Boom.
then the Jedi.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. The 4 Jedi arrive. Torben, who is, by the way, I didn't, maybe they mentioned this in the first 2 episodes, or I may have missed it, but Torben was Indara's Padawan at this time. I found that interesting. Cool little moment. And also, by the way, uh, they massacred our boy Torben. In 16 years, he went from looking like this to like he did
Yeah.
last week.
I mean,
Dude,
I feel you,
I can't get
Torben.
that
I
out of my
feel
head.
you,
He
dude.
looks
Like
awful
just,
as an
just
when
shave it
they
off,
tried to
my guy. Trust me. Trust me. Just
just
shave it
shave
off,
it.
my boy. You ain't got to drink the potion or the poison. I know. Just shave it off. You gonna be happy. You gonna be
Oh
happy.
man, they did him so bad. Anyway,
Yeah.
Torben, Kelnaka, Indara, and Sol, they all arrive. Mother questions the Jedi's intentions as Osha moves in to get a better look at the Jedi as she seems fascinated by them. Indara expresses that they are concerned that they are training children after Mother asks what they want. Republic law prohibits them from doing this. Again, going back to the fact that the Jedi want to control this power that's out there. The witches say there are no children there, but the Jedi are able to sense them. Indara instructs them to come out, and Osha steps forward, but May stays behind. Osha speaks with Soul. Clearly, immediately, you can see the love shared between the
Dude.
two. The acting here by Soul is phenom. Just had to say that. Anyway, continuing on here, Indara asks to meet Osha's sister. May steps forward. Indara asks where their father is, and Mother says they have no father, which is immediately alarming to Soul. Things get tense as Soul reaches for his lightsaber, but he hands it to Osha. Soul tells Osha that she would make a very good Jedi. He asks if she would like to be tested to become one, and she says yes. The mother then gets in the mind of Torben and demands the Jedi leave for him to be returned to his right mind. Osha pleads with her that she wants to take the Jedi test. Mother lets go of the hold she has on Torben and says the scouts will bring Osha to the Jedi at midday. Soul wants both girls, and Mother agrees. The Jedi leave. That's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of stuff in this one moment. A lot of tensions, a lot of cool back and forward. Now, I do know this is one thing I don't like, Zach. I got to be honest.
Oh no.
I do not like the immaculate conception, if you will. And here's why.
Hmm.
The reason why, for me at least, episodes 1 through 9, Anakin Skywalker was the chosen one because in my mind, I'd always thought because he's the only person in the galaxy that has ever had that immaculate conception occur.
Hmm.
Therefore, that's why he was the chosen one. Very, I mean,
Hmm.
let's be real, very biblical kind of concept
Sure.
as to the
Sure.
chosen one, Anakin, immaculate conception kind of thing. So that just kind of
Yeah.
always clicked with me. It just kind of made sense. So it threw me off. I definitely don't love it. I get it. It's fine, I guess. I
I
don't like it.
mean,
If I'm being, I don't like it. I wish they
that's
had
fair.
figured out a different way to do it because especially the dialogue that the mother says of they have no father. That's literally exactly what Shmi said in episode 1, word for
I
word.
see. I'm the complete opposite of the coin here.
Okay.
I loved this
Okay.
because it's weird, it's creepy, especially when they've already prefaced with what if they find out with how you made them, right?
Sure. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Like that just all was working for me because you could
Yeah.
see Indara, is that her name?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
She was like, "Huh? Like,
Yeah.
what's that?" So like I thought this was very cool. I
Yeah.
thought it really worked for me. And dude, Soul right, oh my God, I love him so much. I love him. He gets down on one knee,
Yeah,
he's
that
face
part
to
was great.
face. Like all of that. You've got the Wookiee kind of it kinda looming, you know? I loved seeing a Wookiee out here, just sue me, I guess. I loved seeing him
Oh
out
yeah.
here in the
100%.
robes, looking good.
Mhm.
He's kind of just a presence, which I thought was great. Um, they felt like the police as I go
Yes,
back to
very
my
much
they
so.
are the police. They felt like the police here. "Oh, hey,
Yeah.
just doing a random check. How are you?" But really, they've been watching you for weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I just thought this whole this is when I was talking about in the preface there that this is when I'm leaned all the way up. I'm locked in, baby, because I'm like, oh, something's about to go down because they're there. Why they have four of them? Why are they all together here?
Mm.
Something's about to go down. They know they got the kids. They know they shouldn't have the kids.
Mhm.
Shouldn't have them. Oh, they both are ridiculously strong in the force. You know they can feel it.
Sure.
You know,
Oh,
or they
100%.
know it.
Yeah.
And so,
Well, I
like,
mean,
I just
at the beginning of the episode, Soul was watching them. So
exactly, exactly. Like they
he
know.
literally saw them using the Force.
They know, and they saw May doing the creepy stuff, so he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this one, ugh." Um, but Like, I just man, this was so good. This is when I was talking about it, just it jumped up.
Okay.
I was so happy with this
Dang.
scene. You saw the Padawan dude get, like, taken over or whatever.
Yeah, that was
Like,
cool.
I loved that he's the one that got taken over because that's
Yeah.
the one they would go for, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just everything about the scene was incredible for me.
Yeah.
I loved it
No,
so much.
I love the majority of it. I guess I just
The
wish.
tension, dude, you talked about the tension. Oh,
Yeah.
tension at an all-time high here.
Oh,
Like, I'm waiting for the ball to drop, you know what I mean?
yeah.
I loved it.
I just like I said, I just wish there was
You got thrown off
a
by the
different
conception.
way of having those 2 come about, I guess. Because the whole literally the word for word of
I mean, it's all women. I don't know, to me, it just makes sense.
well, sure. Yeah. I don't
Again, I
know.
think
I don't know of another way to tell the story of how to get them there, but I guess it's just me always having that preconceived expectation of that was only Anakin, you know?
okay. Sure, sure.
I don't know. Again, something I need to watch the episode more and more and
And
more
also,
to
Jedi
kinda
are a
digest that.
religion, and this is their religion, so this is their Jesus, if you wanna think about it like that.
Sure, sure. Okay. Well,
I'm not bringing you down, I'm just saying that's where my brain is at.
yeah, yeah,
That's where
yeah.
I'm sitting.
No. No, I get that. I just
You want Anakin to be the only one, is
yeah, I want Anakin to
that's
be
fine,
the guy, the chosen
that's
one.
fine.
But I guess that goes
He
back
is,
to
he
you
is.
earlier in the show, you were like, "Ah, Skywalker everybody just wants Skywalkers, blah, blah,
Ah,
blah."
here we go. No, no, no. I'm thinking about it in the sense of like we've been talking about these two kind of religious factions. She even calls
Yeah.
the Jedi monks at a certain point.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah, she does.
that's
Coral.
it's
Yeah.
the same thing just from their perspective. These are the
Sure.
miracle babies that were conceived from juju voodoo magic,
Yeah.
and like
Okay.
I loved this parallel for me.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. I
that's fine.
and I'm trying as you're talking, I'm trying to mentally okay. So later in the episode, Mother says that she's the one that created them, right? But the
Correct.
other one carried them.
Correct.
Okay, so maybe what distinguishes this, and we're working through this here live, so maybe this works, maybe it doesn't.
I already know what you're gonna say.
It was the Force that made Shmi
That's the difference.
conceive
Yes.
Anakin. So it is still that whole chosen one, immaculate conception kind of thing, but it was actual people making the
That's why I
conceiving
was saying
happen
it
here.
worked for me because it was this
Okay,
kind of magic, juju magic with the force thing.
okay,
That's
okay.
why it
So it
worked
is
because it's like
different.
this dark magic
Okay.
almost.
Mm,
It's
I
almost
still
not
don't
even
know
the
if I love
force
it.
if you wanna think about that, but
Sure.
well,
Okay.
that's fine, that's fine.
All right.
That's why it worked for me and I didn't second guess it because I was like,
Yeah,
"Okay, she did some sort of witch
sure.
magic on this. This isn't
So
the
it's not
force and
like
bringing
Anakin. Okay.
balance and,
Okay.
not this coming of a Christ-like figure." It would be,
Okay.
um,
Okay.
it would
Okay.
almost be what's a word for that? Like, not disingenuous, but just like that's why it's like it's icky. That's why she's
It
like,
is icky.
you don't want
Yeah.
him to find out how you did this kind of a thing.
It's almost like here we go, Game of Thrones. And we're really we're chewing a lot on this part, and I'm glad we
Well,
are because
I
I
mean,
bet this is the topic of debate out there. It's
yeah.
almost like Game of Thrones. You remember when the Red Woman made or
Yes,
it's like the
yes,
Red
yes.
Woman became
Sh
pregnant with, like, a
With this,
demon
like,
kinda thing.
this shadow demon
It was
thing,
full on
exactly
witchcraft.
that. Exactly
It's
the same
100%
idea.
that. Well,
Yes.
except that there's not a man involved here.
But it also is like, it comes back to it's all the force
Sure.
at the end of the day with the two twins being light side, dark side.
Yeah.
But I think that's why yeah, I think that's why it's just working for me because if
Okay.
she's doing this
Okay.
juju magic stuff, the force is like, yo, I gotta have some balance here. So you about to get twins. I don't know what you're trying to do, but we're gonna have a light
Well,
side, we're gonna have a dark side here.
that makes me ask, did they intentionally get twins?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I mean, maybe, but I took it
Hmm.
as like you're messing with stuff you shouldn't be messing with, but there's still gonna be balance, is how I
Hmm.
took it. But maybe
Interesting. I think
did you
we could
think that they meant to be twins?
I never it never crossed my mind that they didn't mean to have twins, I guess.
Oh. Oh, see, I thought she was just again, this is me making it up. I thought
Sure.
she was just trying to make life and then, "Whoa, we got 2." Wow.
Okay.
Because at this point, do they even know that they're one's dark, one's light? I don't
Oh no,
You think the moms know that?
well, I mean, in
Or the
their eyes, May is doing their
that's
their
exactly what I
thing.
mean. That's exactly what I mean. It's like she's all in on this witchcraft stuff.
Yeah.
They probably don't think about it light side, dark side,
No,
like a
definitely
Jedi
not.
would.
Definitely not.
And so,
Well, I
I don't
think again later in the episode, I think the mother says it's not about good or bad or
know.
anything like that.
Mhm.
But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Anyway, great conversation there. Clearly, we disagree a little bit, but civil conversation. That's how you do it, people. That's how you
That's
do
right.
it right there. All right, let's keep going. Mother meets with her advisors. Mother says they must let the Jedi test the girls. Coral disagrees with this decision as she did not bring the girls into the world to lose them to deranged monks. Mother says it is not Coral's decision, but hers, and she has made it. Coral makes her case as she carried the twins, but Mother says she created them. Coral asks what happens if the Jedi discover how she created them. An older Mother steps up and says the Jedi test only has two outcomes, either a pass or fail. If they pass, the girls leave. If the Coven wants them to stay, they must make the girls fail. Again, a lot of dialogue, but it explains the decision making the rest of the way. Interesting scene for sure. What do you think of it?
I loved this scene, dude.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
this is where it comes into being a parent here. Imagine what they're going through, okay? Hey, your kids are super talented. They have this thing that not a lot of people have. But if you want to pursue this path, you might not ever see them again. They're
Yeah.
going to be gone. Like that it's hitting me at this point. I'm watching, I'm going, "Oh my gosh, well, I don't know what I would do." And
Yeah.
I started like getting a little weepy here, not crying yet, but like,
Sure.
getting emotional like, God, dude, heavy, heavy
Mm,
conversation here. Where I'm thinking about my daughter, she's 4, almost 5. She knows what she wants.
mm,
And Osha looks like she's, probably 10, or I don't know how old she is here. I don't remember, but she knows what she wants.
mhm,
You have your wants, and as a father or mother, you don't want to hinder that. So I loved this scene, and this goes back to her being a great mother in my mind. She goes, "Look, this is what she wants. I know
mhm,
we don't want that, but that she wants to do this. So what
mm,
do we do?" Kind
mm.
of brainstorming. I will say my only negative of the scene, the random CGI Star Wars character
Oh, come on, man.
took took me
No.
out.
No.
Make it real. I want it to be an alien, but
Oh,
don't
I see
make
what
it
you're saying.
CG.
Yeah.
That threw me out, man. I was like, "Oh,
That's another
no."
instance where I probably need to see the scene again to see exactly what you were talking
It just
about.
threw me
Or
off because I was like,
so it didn't
"Oh,
look good to you?
not to me." That it
Okay.
took me out because everything else looks so real, the whole
Sure.
scene, the whole episode, and then you have this random CGI, clearly CGI character when you could have just made her
Real.
a
Practical.
real, yeah, practical.
Yeah.
That's my one negative,
Puppet.
but again, like,
That's fair.
thoughts? What are your thoughts?
No, I mean, I thought the explanation here and the back and forth between the two, the mother and Coral, was interesting. It did kind of lead me to this question, and this might completely derail the conversation. I don't know, or maybe it is kind of important. I don't really get a we love each other vibe between the mother and Coral, if I'm being honest. I
Mm.
get more so of this is what we needed to do to further our coven kind of vibe more so rather than a love relationship between the
It's
two.
very much a,
Or if there was love, it's burnt out at this point.
I don't think it's a love thing. I think it's, just 2 different parenting styles butting
Okay.
heads, right?
Okay.
Where the
I see
mother's
what you
very
mean.
caring and loving, and the other one is very stern, and these are the
Sure.
rules, and we are the witch coven. We
Yeah.
come first. Um, so I think that's where they're
Okay.
differing is.
Okay. But no, other
Yeah,
than
this
that, I
a lot
kind
of
of
information here.
yes, agreed. I agree with everything you kind of said there for the scene. All right, here we go. Mother instructs the girls to take the test by saying whatever is opposite in their heart. May says she will stop the Jedi if they take Osha. Osha voices that the Jedi are good after May says they are bad. Mother says it isn't about good or bad, but power and how you use it. So again, kind of going back to what we've already alluded to there. I don't because I feel like we've already kind of touched on the scene. I don't really have anything else to add unless you do, Zach.
Nope, loved it.
All right, here we go. Moving on. As they arrive, Osha expresses that she doesn't want to lie and wants to say what's in her heart. May obviously disagrees as she is instructed to go first. They promise to each other that they will lie. As May is being tested, Osha wonders, over to Kelnaka, who is working on a speeder. I loved that moment. It was very heartwarming for me, just seeing a young girl communicate with a Wookiee. That was really cool for me. Anyway, once May finishes, Osha goes into the ship and asks if all Jedi get a lightsaber. Torben takes a blood sample. I'm assuming to read the
Count,
midichlorian
baby.
level. Yep. Osha then takes a test similar to the one Anakin took with the Jedi Council in episode 1, so I loved seeing that. It appears Osha is intentionally lying, and Soul tricks her into revealing that she is lying during the test. Soul asks Osha what she wants and gives his backstory. He was tested when he was 4. He knew he was different from his family. The Jedi saw how special he was, and he sees that in Osha. He was scared to leave his family, but when he joined the Jedi, he found other children like him. All of this hits home with Osha, and she shares that she wants to be a Jedi and will tell the truth during the test. As soon as Osha walks out, May senses that she passed the test. Okay, one thing. Whenever Torben took the blood sample, I
Hmm.
can't lie. In my mind, I was thinking, because I'm sure this series is telling the story of how the Jedi are a little iffy here and there. In my mind, it crossed, okay, is there a possibility that they're sticking trackers in these people to maybe go after them one day if they decide not to take them, if they really start creating a bunch of havoc? Again, adding to this overall story of this Jedi group, the Jedi in general, sometimes will do some things fishy. I don't know if that's a stretch or if
I
it
don't
was
think
just
that's a stretch by any means. I mean,
okay.
I would not put it past them. Why
In
would
my
they
in my
not wanna
mind,
keep track?
yeah, in my mind, I'm gonna assume he took the M count while also putting
Yeah,
something in him.
I think
But
I
I think that
don't
would
think that's what happened. I'll
yeah,
say that. But I do think it's not a stretch, is how
sure.
I would
Like
answer
it's a
your question.
possibility that they would do. But now that I
100%.
think about it, well, I was trying to think back in episode 1 and 2, like how they
I
tracked
loved this moment because they
OSHA so
called back
much.
to midichlorians without saying it in my mind.
Yeah, I did.
That's why I loved it
And I
because
loved
it's
the test that
they would do
Anakin
it,
took.
like, they would do a blood test. Of course they
Yeah.
would, if they have this midichlorian count that no one ever wants to talk about, this M count, that they would do it, and then I didn't remember this from being in episode 1, I can't lie to you.
Oh, okay.
I just thought it was a great scene. It just
Yeah.
worked for me in so many levels. This is when I really became emotionally attached to Osha.
Ooh, okay.
This character, the actual actress or actor, amazing, right? Like from
Yeah, I need
this
to get
point on in
the
the
names.
episode, incredible acting by this child actor here.
Okay.
Because everything she's doing is exactly what my little girl does.
Mm.
I don't know if you could hear me whispering right there, but like that's
Oh, yeah, we
everything
got you.
she's doing is exactly how she acts. She's being mischievous and she's trying to lie. Soul being the boss that he is, gets her to fall for the trap, which is
Yeah.
exactly what would happen. And it's just, and then he just, again, just face to face with her. He's got a little de-aging going on, by the way, huh? He got a little de-aging.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I thought it
Mm,
looked great. I thought it
yeah.
looked great.
If it
Um,
was de-aged, he didn't look bad. Like, it looked awesome.
like my love for Soul is just going like
Yeah,
the
okay.
Grinch in this
Yeah.
episode, right? Or in this part right here, because he's
Sure.
just being
Sure.
so genuine, and you can see their chemistry is just amazing in terms of like father daughter, and especially I think the moment that sold me was when he said, I found there was thousands of children like me, and she lights up because I mean
Mhm.
again, she's been in this hole on this planet her whole life and she's this, second coming or this special person. And turns out, hey, there's thousands of children like you, and you can go be with them and you can
Yeah.
learn the ways of like it just was so cool. And like you said, I didn't talk about it, but the Kelnaka moment, with just that
Mm.
slight moment made me so happy because
Yeah, that
she's
was cool.
so just she's so in, man.
You know
She
those
loves it.
TikToks, you know those videos where you see the little boy or little girl talk to Chewbacca at Disney? That was 100%
Yes.
what that felt like.
Yeah.
It's just so
Like,
heartwarming. It feels great to see.
oh, I loved it, dude. And like I hope we get another flashback, which I think we will,
Yeah, I think
because we
so.
see Kelnaka fighting at some point, right? in one of the
Yes,
trailers.
but we don't know who. Hmm.
Yeah, but all right, whatever the case, I hope that he and OSHA have a moment together. I think that would be so cool.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Seeing them. But
Mm.
I
Mhm. Mhm.
I loved everything about this dude. This is my
Yeah.
favorite part of the whole episode for me. I
Okay.
loved it.
Yeah. No, anytime Soul gets down on a knee or sits down and gets
Oh,
face to face with OSHA, you know it's going to be gold at this point.
this man learned English for the
Dude.
role.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
didn't know that, listener, he learned English to be in Star Wars.
Is his name Lee Jung Jae? Is that what it is? Is that's why they
I
keep
thought it
calling
was
him?
Lee Hung So, but maybe it is
I don't.
Jay.
They keep calling him JJ in like press and stuff.
Let's see. It is
Okay.
Lee Jung Jae.
Well, he deserves all the flowers.
Dude.
He's by
Oh,
far he's by far the best character in the series. Like it's
I
not
think
even
he's one
close.
of the best characters Disney has concocted here.
I'm not there yet, but
Name a better one, Keller, off the top of your head.
you know I'm partial to Din Djarin, man. Get out of here.
Um, nah, Din's good. Shout out Din. Kylo Ren's good too. I don't care if you hate him. I like him.
Yeah, Ben Solo is a good
Kylo
one.
Ren's good too.
He's great.
But he's getting up
That's
there, my guy.
man. Dang. All right.
He's so
Okay.
good.
All right.
I loved this scene to sum it up.
Yeah, it was good. All right, moving on. Osha faces her family back at the fortress. She says she wants her own life and that she doesn't want to share with May, and she doesn't want to be a witch. As May begins fighting with Osha, Mother instructs her to walk with Coral so she can talk with Osha one on one. Osha apologizes, but Mother says, "Stop. Destiny is not decided for you, but excuse me, destiny is not decided for you by some anonymous force. You get to make a choice, Osha. If you want to pull the thread, then pull it. Fear should not make this decision. Osha, you should." Osha responds by saying, "I want to be a Jedi, Mama. I do." And the two embrace in an emotional moment as Mother says she must discuss her decision with everyone there, but they will consider her wish when they do so. The two exchange I love yous to end the scene. Cool emotional moment between the mother and Osha for me. I really love the fact that again she kind of said it's up to you. Basically, she was saying I support you in whatever decision you kind of make. But I can't lie, whenever they hugged and whenever she said, "But I'm gonna have to bring this up to others," in the back of my mind, I was thinking, are they about to kill her because she's gonna go off or attempt to kill her rather because she's gonna go off with the Jedi? I got those icky feelings as they were embracing. And maybe that was their intentions. We'll never know. Maybe we'll talk about that later. But
Mm.
nonetheless, cool scene between the two.
I won't lie to you, and as the listeners may know, if they have listened for a long time, I'm an emotional viewer. I'm a crier. Okay,
Okay.
I cried in this moment.
Okay.
I didn't weep, but I shed a tear. It's because of the line that we just talked about. I
Yeah.
want to be a Jedi, Mama. I do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Got you.
baby. If your baby girl says that to you, whatever she just said, you're in. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I want to
Sure.
go do this one thing that I shouldn't do. And they say it like that, you
Yeah.
just go, okay, I'm with you. We rolling. Where we rolling? You know what I mean? Like, where we going? So, like, that's exactly how I took this. And the actress's piece here where the kid actor is doing this. This is when I was like, oh my gosh, this is so believable. She
Yeah.
wants this so bad.
Mm.
And then the mom is saying that. And then, like you said, you get like this, there's like a little twist where she just goes, I'll be sure to take it into consideration
Uh-huh.
with the
Uh-huh.
I was like, ugh.
Yeah, I was thinking, you sicko.
I was like, gosh dang it. Cause like she wants to be this mom, but she
Yep.
still has to be the leader of this coven. And it's like, oh god dang it,
And
man.
let's and
What's about
again,
to happen?
if we haven't portrayed it, I'm of the opinion that clearly this coven is not up to any good. I don't know what their overall goal is, but it can't
And I
be
don't even know
good.
if it's I don't even know if it's bad. It's
Sure.
just
Yeah.
they feel smited, and that's
Yes.
not a good
No.
they ain't cooking up good stuff, is what I would say. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
No, I agree. I agree.
Vibes are off.
Yeah, they be way off.
payoff. But I loved this moment, dude. Oh,
Yeah.
it was such a really good written scene to me because it was
Mm,
so real to life in my
okay.
life. I think
Okay.
that's why it hit me so hard.
Fair enough. All right, here we go. Osha is in her room packing things up. We see an inside look at her journal from earlier in the episode. She was drawing the Jedi Order logo. I loved that reveal. That made it all just kind of feel, oh, it all made sense as to why
Just to
she's
pause
making
on
all
that,
these
I was gonna
decisions.
say it made it at first I was reading, like, this was the first time they dealt with the Jedi or heard of them, and she just, like, on a whim was like, "Yeah, I wanna be a Jedi."
Yeah.
Not the
No.
case. This has been festering. This
Yeah,
has been on her
it's
mind,
always
dude.
been yeah, it's always been in the back of her mind. And by the way, very interesting that a journal is triangular.
Very interesting, and very flammable as we come to find out.
Yeah, very
I
flammable.
ridiculously flammable journal. You
Yes.
probably shouldn't have that in your house, actually.
Agreed. May arri May arrives and says she won't let her leave, and she will stop her by killing her. And when she said that, I was like, "Well, that escalated real
I
quick."
dude,
Like,
dude,
what are we
same.
doing?
I was like, "Oh, whoa, whoa, you just said that. Whoa, what?
You
You're
just
gonna
show
kill
up,
her?
"I'm gonna kill you."
Yeah, well, like, you're my bro, you're my twin. This whole time we're together, through this together, and then you show
Yeah,
up
we
and say
got
you're
a
gonna
we got
kill
a
me?
we got a little saying that we say back and
Like,
forth,
we can't
"You
just
are
talk this
mine," and
out."
whatever it is, "I'm
Like,
gonna
I
kill
said,
you."
"Oh my god, May, yo,
Yeah,
dark
she's a
side."
little irrational, just to
Oof,
say the least. Anyway,
tapped into the dark side, baby.
May steals the journal and runs away, locks OSHA in a room, and lights the journal on fire. Suddenly, the entire room is on fire. OSHA is able to break out by sneaking through a tunnel or something. I didn't really know what was going on there because it was inside the room.
I gotta pause you.
Okay,
Fire, we know fire is a hot topic these days on the X Twitter
sure.
train. I even brought it up myself. Here we go again. How did the whole room catch fire?
Yeah, that
It's
quickly, you
made of
mean?
stone. How did it catch fire?
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, 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 yeah.
But, but,
Mhm.
don't give two craps because it's Star Wars.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's where I'm at.
Amen.
I gotta throw that into the universe. Who cares?
Well, I
We know a fire got started, this
sure.
big tube of something, maybe it's oil or something, and she throws it down, and then that's how it gets everywhere. Like,
Yeah.
I already could smell people complaining about
Oh, it's
that,
already
and
there.
so,
I've already read a
dude,
tweet
like,
that says another week and or another episode of The Acolyte and another week of Star Wars not knowing how to handle fire.
okay, and I get it, but this one especially, like, who cares?
Yeah,
Who cares? Alright, go ahead. That's
agreed.
why I had to pause you because
No,
I knew
you're good. Anyway, where are we at?
fire. May said, "Ah," and
Yeah, yeah.
threw
OSHA
fire
goes
down.
through a little tunnel or
Yeah,
something,
that's
whatever
right.
it is.
Yeah.
Tunnel leads to that electrical system in the fortress, and it explodes. May and OSHA walk onto a bridge that has been split into two. May says their mother is dead. Suddenly, the bridge collapses and May falls. Soul, out of nowhere, suddenly arrives and catches OSHA before she falls. But I will say it looked like he was also attempting to save May because he
100%.
had two
He
hands
tried
going
to
on.
force grab May.
Yep.
You can't convince me
That is
otherwise.
that is something that you need to consider for sure. They walk by dead witches, but Soul instructs Osha that they must keep going. They walk by her mother as well, who is soon to be dead. The fortress appears to be slowly burning and collapsing. Okay, a lot of action, a lot of things going on behind the scenes. I'm pretty sure it's obvious, in my opinion. It Soul popping up like that, the Jedi had something to do with this. It is not all May. There is no way that May did all of that, that May killed all of those witches. The Jedi are at play 1000%. And we
Here
just
we
have
go.
to wait till later in the show to see the reveals. What do you think?
Been waiting to talk about this.
Okay.
2 theories. First is a stretch.
Okay.
I think the Jedi were there to get the kids and murk them. I think that's why the Jedi went up in there and was like, "Yo, we know you got kids.
Yeah. I don't think that's a stretch at all.
Do you want them to come peacefully, or you want us to just kill you all and take them?" Which one
Yeah.
do you want? That's my number one rule or my number one
Sure.
stretch, but I think could be a possibility.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm right.
But the what
That's where my
okay.
mind was.
Yeah, I think they could potentially have known these kids are very force sensitive. They've been watching
Yeah.
them, obviously.
Yeah.
And this random coven that we know they're breaking laws
Sure.
technically. So if we think about police,
Yeah.
you don't need a lot to start giving them excuses to do things. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
so there's that. But what I really actually think it is that uh Jedi there to pick up Osha. May starts a fire. Witches blame the Jedi. Jedi murk all of them. I think that may be what happened.
Okay. Say that again one more time.
May starts the fire,
Okay, with the
and
journal,
maybe, correct, maybe the witches blame the Jedi. You
because the
you can
Jedi are there
imagine.
to pick up Osha.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
imagining. Again, we
Okay.
don't know any of this yet, but
Okay.
Jedi are there to pick up Osha. The witches are there. They maybe they think foul play has happened,
Uh-huh.
and they attack the Jedi, which in turns murks all of them. Because if you look in the next scene, old Game of Thrones balding guy has got his cut on his face. Go back and watch it.
Oh,
He's injured,
crap.
my guy. Yes, I knew it because Taylor
Wait,
didn't see it either.
he's got cuts all over his face?
He's got the scar we saw. He's got that on his face,
Mm.
and he's bleeding.
Well, there's also been a TV spot of him kinda pinned to the ground with scars all over his face.
So I think we're gonna go back to this moment and see it from a different perspective. 100%. I can almost
Well,
guarantee
and we
that.
know from last
But
week's episode that Torben feels guilty because he
yeah,
clearly wants to
which
die
leads
instead
me
of.
to my number one, which
Yeah.
is like we were there to murk them anyways.
Yeah.
Like, you know, what's the word when that you don't have, you don't have a weapon? Um, I like when you shoot someone and they ain't got a weapon, they're defenseless.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah, there you
I
go.
think that's why he feels bad because he's like, "Yo, we were there and we killed all of them,
Yeah, no,
all of them. We wiped them off the planet."
I think
Um,
it's your first one, if I'm being honest, because I mean, why else would May be on this hunt to kill these 4 Jedi other than they show up, they
well,
clearly are.
May knows. May has the
Yeah, she
perspective,
saw it
right?
all. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
She started the fire, but she says, "What have you done to Osha?" Because she's the one that got the Jedi to come there. Like
Mm,
that's why they're around, you know?
mhm, mhm.
And that's
Dang.
why she sees that the Jedi killed them, I
Yeah,
think, because she says mother is dead.
that aspect, there's a lot of potential there for the story to continue. Like, they have done
And
that
you
really
noticed
well.
oh, I agree. I think this is very masterfully done here. Shout out to Leslie Headland on this because wow, you could have answered all the questions here, and I have more questions than I do have answers. Um, but I just thought this was so well done, and Soul he tried to save May.
Yeah, he
You
did.
can't
He did.
convince me otherwise. And the fact that he grabs OSHA basically like he did in the first episode or whatever, second
Mhm.
episode,
Oh,
I
yeah.
just
That was cool.
lo loved all of it, man.
Yep. Now I also still think we're gonna go back to get an explanation as to how May survived that fall.
Yep, yep, I agree.
So
I mean,
we
maybe,
still need to visit
maybe,
that. We also, 1000%, regardless of what your theory is, the Jedi did something they weren't supposed to do here.
or
Let's be real.
something
They did
something that
something
makes them
bad.
feel guilty.
Sure. Yeah, and it'll be interesting
I
to
think it's
get
just
that story.
because yeah, it seems pretty obvious to me at this point. It was a bloodbath.
Yeah.
They wiped them. They literally extincted this
Yeah. Well, and
coven.
it's very wise of Soul too, and again, good writing in my opinion, that we don't give Osha the opportunity to look at the mother to see lightsaber wound.
That's right. That's
Lightsaber
right.
wound. Had to have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something fishy going on. Anyway, all right, moving on here. Osha awakens on the Jedi ship on their way to Coruscant. Soul says May started a fire and that it destroyed everything.
The wording.
Mm.
The wording.
And the facial expressions.
The fire destroyed. May started a fire and it destroyed everything. Nothing else said.
Yeah.
He doesn't say your mom's dead. He doesn't say, "Oh, we came and killed everybody." He just says it destroyed everything.
Mm. Yeah. from a certain point of view, we told the
Mm,
truth.
mm,
Well, anyway, that
mm.
fire killed her mother and May. Soul says there is nothing back there and that she will be safe on Coruscant and that if she wishes, she will train as his Padawan. Soul says she will never feel like this again. And he promised that. And I don't know why he promised that because that is definitely not going to stay true, probably.
Interesting promise there, Soul. That
Yeah,
was the
for
first
real.
I was like, "Oh,
And then
whoa."
the end scene is back on Brindok. May is alive under that bunta tree from the beginning of the episode, asking for Osha, which was weird, very weird to me because it was like she just woke up. She's like Osha, and
No,
I
I
don't really
think it
get
was
that.
just well, if you know, I mean, if you think about it, May doesn't know OSHA got saved by Soul. She
Right, right,
done
right. Oh,
got dropped.
that's right. Because at the
And
end of
so
episode 2 last week, they're both surprised that they're alive, right?
correct. Like May
Yeah,
doesn't know that she survived. So she was hoping
yeah.
that they would have met at this point that was their point,
Word,
you know.
word. All right, I'm
Um,
there. Okay, well, that's the episode. I think this episode, number one, served as backstory for all of our characters. But number two just adds, no pun intended here, fuel to the fire of that night on Brindok,
yeah.
of how that escalated this entire situation and how we have these two completely different point of views colliding probably the rest of the season. Now, the only thing that I'm curious is how does the stranger get involved in this, because at this point everybody, literally every character that we've seen so far, all leads back to Brindok except that dude, except the stranger. Somehow May picks that guy up along the way. I don't know what goes on there, but yeah, I think it was a vital episode as far as giving you full understanding of the story they're trying to tell.
I think this is a perfect episode 3.
Okay.
We've been, you know, we know who Soul and everybody is at this point. It started a little shaky in terms of hooking me and what making me care about, you know, their backstory, but
Yeah,
by the end, I was you get the Jedi involved, man. It just changes everything in my
sure.
mind. Like even with the Night Witches and Night Sisters, whatever they're called,
Yeah, we need a
even in
name
the
for them. We didn't really
even
get a
the
name.
other even in the other mediums, you know, video games, animation, like they've never really done it for me in terms of making me love Star Wars and like care. Like it's cool, it makes sense that in this big world there would be magic and force and stuff. But
Yeah.
you get the Jedi walking in there and they got the lightsaber on their hip, they got the robes on, they're looking
Uh-huh.
good. Like
Uh-huh.
changes the whole perspective, man.
Yeah,
And that the writing in this, sometimes the dialogue gets a little clunky,
sure.
but I
I
think
think that's
the
kind of Star Wars in its nature,
I I
honestly.
I
But
agree with you
anyway,
on that, but,
continue,
I
continue.
think the framing of the story has been a masterclass here because, as we said last week, this fire's gotta be important. Better
Mhm.
be a big freaking deal.
Oh, yeah.
It's being a big deal, and
Yeah.
even if we're all perfectly on the money and we predicted all of it, the way it's being presented is very well done in my mind
Yeah.
because I still, like, I wanna know more, and
Yeah.
even if it is that we nailed it, the Jedi were there to kill them anyways, like, even if that's the case, that's interesting,
Yeah,
dude.
it is.
Like
It
like,
is.
oh my gosh, that, like, these peacekeepers
Sure.
are there to wipe them out?
Yeah. But, I mean,
Whoa,
there
and it makes sense.
you could easily see an angle, though, where the Jedi feel 100% in the right in doing so because their job
100, dude.
is to not allow the Sith to return or any kinda dark side
Exactly, dude, and
concept to
you've got
return.
these 30 folks over here that are like I said, they've got a chip on their shoulder,
Yep.
they all use magic and the Force, and now they
In
have these
sketchy
2
ways.
miracle babies that they've
Yep.
created.
Yep.
We gotta take these folks out.
Yeah. Yeah.
It seems
And
like a no-brainer to me.
yeah, and if you're on the side of the Jedi, yeah, you're
That's what I mean, like
100% validated in making that decision.
you're right, and it's like, not to get too dark here, but in history, you've got these dictators who want to do these things, and then you've got the actual soldiers that have to carry through and do those things.
Mm.
That's the vibes I'm getting from the Jedi in this scene of like, we've
Yeah.
seen some stuff, we did some stuff,
Mhm.
We murked innocents. They
Mhm.
didn't do anything to us. We just were told we have to kill them. Like
Yep.
that's how I'm vibing with Torben here,
Sure.
where it's like, that shell shock almost, where you're like,
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
had to do it, and it was
Mhm.
bad. So I just,
Yeah.
it's just,
And that made me
love
think
it.
too, this probably the decision of whatever reason why Saul was there at the
Hmm.
fortress,
Hmm.
that group, those 4 Jedi were probably instructed by Vernestra to do whatever they did.
I
Uh,
think so.
Her hand is at play in here too. She may have not been there, but it was her decision making that got those
I think it
Jedi involved in that fire.
100% agree, dude.
So
As
her
much as
hands
we
are
saw
just as
her in
bloody
1 and 2,
with this thing.
I think she made the call, and she
Yeah,
was well. Saul was her Padawan, right?
correct.
That- So yeah, I think it was her
Correct.
call to um, say, "Hey, yeah, do whatever you need to do. Take him out."
I just the thought came across my mind of Yoda again, and if I'm starting to really believe he's not showing up in the show now that we're
No,
3
I don't
episodes
think
in.
he needs to,
I
dude.
don't think so either.
Like you said, it's a galaxy.
Yeah, although he should be on Coruscant at this point, right?
No, my point is like they're patrolling a
Yeah,
galaxy.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Why does he care what's happening on this one random planet? And like,
yeah. Well, I mean, I would hope, I would
but
hope
it's
that if the Jedi Order got word of these witches that created life forms using the Force, that all the
maybe,
top tier Jedi would get involved.
maybe. But remember, the Jedi fall, my guy. They fall
Yeah,
because of this.
sure.
They
Yes.
are
They
dumb.
lose
They are
sight.
not
Yes.
good.
Yes. Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
Yoda's the boss, and I
Come on
don't think
now.
it degrades Yoda at all because you got to remember, like, this is a whole group. Like, it's
Yeah.
it, he's the dude, but the dude doesn't know everything. He can't. He
Yeah.
can't. It's
Mm,
not possible.
mm. We'll see.
Especially with the Sith doing their thing, and we know the Sith win. Spoiler alert: the Sith win,
Yeah. Until Luke Skywalker, right? Well, maybe Ray. I don't even know. I don't
or
know anymore.
Anarchin, or
Who
yeah, I don't.
knows?
I
Who
We
really
don't know.
does it?
We don't know who in the balance
It's never
actually
ending. Never
occurs,
ending.
but
All right. Well,
but
there's
but
our
do you agree
episode
with me?
3.
Do you agree with me on the Yoda thing or no?
As
I
far
gotta
as
ask.
him,
You think he should know about this stuff? He would know about it.
in it just depends. I mean, it's hard for me, obviously, watching it on television and not living in that world.
Yeah.
In my mind, it's hard for me to imagine why would the top dogs not be told about.
Okay.
Oh, we have this group of witches that created 2
I think
very
I agree with you
powerful
on that.
force
I think I
users.
actually agree with that on that.
It's hard for
I
me
think
to
I do.
not imagine them be like, "Oh, we need to tell everybody about this. This is gonna be the water." Yoda's coming into the lunchroom and he's filling up his water. I heard there were witches that created 2 Jedi.
Oh, you killed all of them, huh? See, I think
There
that
they
is
are.
I think that's the reason it would be swept under the rug because it's a genocide. It's
It's
a
just water cooler talk for them. They're like, whatever.
no, I think because it's so dirty and
Okay,
nasty that they did this.
that they
They don't
don't.
want people to know. Oh, there's a fire. It killed all of them. Ah, but really the Jedi murked them.
Okay,
I think that's what's at play. I think it's
okay,
very much a cover-up situation
all right.
because I don't care what you say. Yeah, Yoda's amazing, but they ain't all Yoda, man. There's dirty cops. There's bad cops.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I got you there. I mean, there's definitely some
Come on.
Jedi in this time period that are probably sketch for sure.
Like
For sure.
oh, hey boss, we got them all.
Yep. All right, man. Well, there's our we're ending dark. Who knows?
Yeah.
I still know Yoda at the end of the day, but it just
Well,
doesn't
to
make
stay positive here, like I loved this episode.
yeah,
Loved this episode, dude.
again, I need to rewatch it some more for sure
Mm.
to work through the details, if you will. But again, as I said up at the top, I enjoyed my time watching it. I'll be honest, I enjoyed my time, and the witch stuff, the singing did not bother me in the slightest. If
Yeah.
that's something we're complaining about, get out of here with that.
Yeah, I agree,
now,
dude.
now, if you want to have a conversation like we did about the whole the
Yeah,
witches
the Immaculate
creating those.
Conception
Yeah,
thing.
that I feel like that is something that could easily be divisive, and I understand both sides of it, honestly,
I
if I'm
agree.
being
I
real.
agree with you.
But if we're gonna argue about singing and whatever, get
And
out
the
of here with that.
fire thing, like, come
Yeah, I don't
on,
care about that
guys.
anymore either.
Come on. Yeah, same.
But it's gonna this one's gonna lead to some interesting conversation. So if you want to get in on the conversation, people, comment on YouTube or DM or just tweet at me at Mando Talk, and I would love to talk with you guys there. But other than that, man, there's our episode 3 breakdown. Next week, episode 4. I hope to get some more Stranger next week. I
I
hope to
agree.
get
I
more
can't wait.
Stranger.
I
And I
can't wait
think
for
we're
next week.
going to that planet that Kelnaka is going to be on, obviously. We can't just leave
Mm.
that hanging there. I think it's the planet of Kofar is where Kelnaka is hanging out, and that's where all of them are headed toward. So I'd
Is that where
imagine
May is headed? Is that where
I
that's
think
where
so
May's headed, right?
because Chimere lets her know, hey, Kelnaka's on this planet.
Okay. That's what it is. I thought that's what the thread
Yeah, and I'm
they
really
were
starting to
pulling
think
on.
Chimere's the stranger too, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter.
There's like a video out there of like voice manipulating Chimere and the stranger, and like they almost perfectly match. Like
Okay.
putting
Wow.
like the filter on Chimere's voice and
Sure.
it matches the stranger's voice that we got in
Yeah,
episode
I think
1.
so. And I saw that where people were like, "Well, how did he defended May off quickly when she was like trying to get him." He was just like,
Oh yeah, yeah,
"What
yeah,
are you
yeah.
trying to do?"
Sure.
Um, I think I think that would be the case. I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, I don't love that one because I don't feel like out of the writing that we've gotten so far, I feel like that doesn't
I
really
feel like
match
that's
what
too
we've gotten.
easy,
It's
dude.
too easy. Way
It's
too
too
easy.
easy. But
We'll
I
see.
still don't know. I still don't think he's the master. I think it's what we talked about. I think he's the apprentice.
The acolyte or the stranger is.
Yeah, I don't think
Mm.
he's the dude. I think there's a dude, actually a Sith dude, and
And the strangers
he's
want to
trying to
kill
rise
that
up.
dude and make May his apprentice. Hmm. Well, we shall see. We'll leave it
Maybe
there.
not.
We'll leave it there.
If it's the dude, he better be dope in that scene where we see him
Oh
fighting him.
gosh, he better
He
be.
better murk some people. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I need that. I need that to be. Well, I don't want to say I need that
I
to be
think that's
next week,
episode 4.
but I want
I
it to
think it
be next
is.
week.
I think it's gonna be episode 4 because remember we talked about it. It's in the jungle. It's where Kanaka's at. I think that's gonna be the head. There, Soul's going and telling the group, "Yeah, yeah, yo,
And
this is where May's going."
we would imagine Chimere's going with May. So if Chimere's the stranger, then yeah, that would be a good spot to reveal it.
I think it.
All
I
right.
think we wrote it. I think we just nailed
I'm
it.
hoping next week we get some action back in the show. This week was very important explanation. Next week, give me some of that action. Give me some dark
I agree.
side. Give me some acolyte. Give me some stranger.
We're gonna see it. It's
I
coming.
hope so. All right. Well, stay tuned. Until then, make sure you check us out next week as we break down episode 4. But there's our episode 3 breakdown. Appreciate everybody for listening, staying tuned. Again, hit all those buttons to make sure that you stay in the know. Comment on YouTube, like on YouTube. It really helps the algorithm. It pushes the video out there to more. And if you've made it this deep in the video or pod, greatly appreciate you. You are the real deal. Zach, you're the real deal. I appreciate you bringing it this week. Any final words for our lovely audience?
No, thanks for having me, dude. I look forward to this every single week. Can't wait. I truly can't wait for next week. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'm engaged. I'm hooked on the story they're trying to tell. Although, as I said earlier, some things here and there that I need to ruminate some more on, but I'm hooked. I'm engaged with the story that they've got going. And yeah, we'll be here next week to cover it. And until then, as always, we have spoken.